Adopt the report from the Committee on Rules
Mr. President,
using the short roll.
may I address that?
Senator McClendon.
Thank
you're
you for the
recognized.
recognition. We had a calendar right before this that never did get completed. On that calendar, I was up by 2. Now I'm down 1 in that last transaction. As you all know, I've taken this opportunity to discuss the calendar to bring up the dearth of health care bills, keeping in mind that we have here in Alabama what could easily be described, indisputably described, as the worst health care in the nation. Now, I've given you all some statistics in the past. I have plenty of them. And to start off, I'm going to present a few more statistics so everyone realizes the seriousness of the condition and the irresponsibility in not coming forward with making basic changes in our healthcare system. There are, in fact, 2 organizations that are state organizations that are charged with, one of them is charged with policy, and one of them is charged with licensing and enforcement. The policy group is a state agency known as the State Board of Health. They set policy and guidelines for the entire state of Alabama as far as our health and welfare of our citizens. Well, let's just review how well they're doing. Diabetes, 49th in the nation. Infant mortality, it's a tie, folks. 49th in the nation. Population with heart disease, 47th in the nation. Incidence of high blood pressure, 49th in the nation. I could go on. There have been attempts by various healthcare groups to change the way healthcare is provided in Alabama, improve access to healthcare in Alabama, and in every case, they've been opposed by a powerful private group. Those groups that have come forward to this legislative body that are seeking to provide additional services to the patients in Alabama and in additional locations to the patients in Alabama. I'll list those groups. I've dealt with them. I've watched them all come forward. I watched them all get beat back. Physical therapy, they've come forward. Optometry, they've made an attempt for years. Pharmacy has fought the battle. They're having a hard time. Respiratory therapists have been beat back. Radiation techs are coming forward for the first time, thank you. Podiatry is trying to improve the services that they can provide, and they're being beat back. Who are they being beat back by? What organization is so powerful that they can squelch the efforts of all these other healthcare providers? And who is cooperating with them to do that? The problems in Alabama are multiple. We'll start with a proposal to do something about the Alabama Department of Public Health and how the public health officer is selected. You all know the public health officer, and this is not about any individuals, I assure you, serving in that role. They've done a remarkable job in tough times, but that role is filled by a private organization. That's a state position that's dictated by a private dues-paying club, which I've called the Mucho Dinero Club. The other group that is a state agency that has policing authority, licensing responsibility, and also the responsibility to revoke licenses. That is the Board of Medical Examiners. They issue those licenses. They have the responsibility to remove those licenses. How effective have they been? We're the number one state in the nation with opioid prescriptions. Did you know that we ran at an average of one prescription per person in the state of Alabama during a year's time? That means I didn't get one. Did you get one? You probably didn't get one. That means somebody's getting a lot of prescriptions. That also means somebody is writing a lot of prescriptions. The state is doing nothing to curtail that, although the attempts have been made. In fact, attempts have been made to come forward with legislation to correct some of these issues. What's happened to those attempts to correct issues? I know of one piece of legislation, made it through committee process, but apparently has been buried. We haven't seen it. It's been 6 weeks ago. That was processed. We haven't seen it, hadn't come forward. So what I want to discuss right now for the next few minutes, the basic principles of democratic government. And let's see how well these principles are being adhered to within this body, not just within the state, not within the sewing circle, but within this body, the sewing circle. Principle number one in this democratic government, all members are equal. And they have equal rights and responsibilities. Now let's see how we're doing with that. Are all members equal? Are some members more equal than others? This sounds like Animal Farm, doesn't it? Well, it just so happens, before this day is over, I'm going to help you recall Animal Farm. Some animals are more equal than others. Okay, principle number one, we're all equal. We have equal rights. We have equal responsibilities. Principle number two, the organization is run with impartiality and fairness. The rules are applied equally. How are we doing with principle number two? I would say we're not doing too well. I would say that some folks see what they would like to see on these calendars, and some folks don't. Seems to work that way. I would say that we are not doing well at all with impartiality and fairness. The rules in this case, in this body, are not being applied equally. Principle number 3. This is important, especially for this group. Ideas come from the members and are presented to the assembly to decide upon. What does that mean? That means we generate proposals. And those proposals are then brought forward to the membership. There's nothing in this that says those proposals are handed to a single individual, and that single individual has the opportunity to decide whether they get to pass go or whether they go to jail and are buried forever. So that is probably one of the most important cornerstones on the basic principle of democratic government, is that ideas come from the members and are presented to the assembly to make a decision. That's not happening. That is not happening. I'm saying this group is having a hard time. I would say there are certain parts of this group we are 0 for 3 on these principles. We're having some members picking winners and losers. You know, it's only a reasonable request for someone to come forward and say, all I want to do is get this proposal in front of the group and let the group make a decision. I had a bill like that. I had a bill that dealt with another state agency. That state agency was the Board of Medical Examiners. What I wanted to do there was to come forward and have them subject to the ethics law. That certainly seems reasonable. We're subject to the ethics law. Shouldn't this other state agency? Let me tell you what happened to that bill. It went before a committee, just like it was supposed to do, and the committee members heard the pros and the cons, and they voted it down. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be one person that goes thumbs down on an idea. Let's go back. Number 3, ideas come from the members, presented to the assembly, and the assembly makes a decision. I'm telling you, that's not happening. The right to vote for or against a bill is a sacred responsibility, and it's granted by our voters. And muzzling fellow senators, squelching their proposals, is nothing but an abomination. Before we came here, I watched how that process worked when another party was in charge. I will tell you this, I see similarities. With that being said, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing an opportunity to further discuss this. I look forward to coming back a little while, and I think we will learn a little bit more about how all pigs are equal, but some are more equal than others. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Senator McClendon.